Welcome to Michael's Record Collection. I am very honored to be joined today by Lauren Carey, the host of the Beard Al podcast. We're going to be talking a little bit about Weird Al Yankovic today. Lauren, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am always down to talk Weird Al.
As I'm sure you are. I mean, let's talk a little bit about your podcast first. The concept of Beard Al. Where did that start? How did that become a thing? Mixing craft beer and Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was Beard Al gets lumped a lot in with shows that started during the pandemic because it's a show that started during the pandemic. But the idea for it came a little bit before that. And the pandemic was just the thing that made us go, oh, well, let's just do it now. We have time. So the general premise is it's my brother and myself. And we do what we say we do. We take our two favorite things in the world and smash them together because Weird Al was the thing that kind of kept us bonded as kids because we're about 2 years apart, especially when you're teenagers. It's like you kind of hate each other a little bit, but we always found common ground in Weird Al. One of us could turn Weird Al on and go, oh, okay, like you're not so bad. I remember, this is great. And then when we both got a little older, we realized, wow, craft beer is amazing. And it was another thing that we bonded over. And so when we were thinking about doing a podcast together, I think I might have mentioned Weird Al and John might have mentioned beer. And then he was the one who just kind of had the moment. He went, well, why not both? I'm like, brilliant. That's the hook, because craft beer, especially from like funky little microbrews, has a lot of the same humor that Weird Al does, especially like when naming the beers and doing, it's just people doing weird stuff. And that's what Weird Al does too.
Yeah, they use a lot of puns and, just clever little sayings. And a lot of their advertising is very irreverent, like Weird Al. And I could see that little similar humor there. How many shows have you guys done now?
Oh my goodness. We did somewhere in April, I want to say, we had our 100th episode.
Nice.
And so, coming up at the end of May was 2 years since the first episode came out. So we're trucking along pretty well. Now, I will say I have done over 100 episodes of the Beard Al podcast. My brother has done about half of that because every other week of the show I have a guest on, you're on the show. To talk about, the Weird Al topic du jour. The main backbone of the show is my brother and myself pairing a craft beer with a Weird Al song, but then every other week it's a free-for-all.
Do you have a favorite pairing so far that you've come up with?
Oh my gosh. There was one, I'm going to go with something that happened recently because there have been so many that have been really right on the nose. And then there have been several that were just a stretch. But when we did the song CNR, which is a White Stripes style parody about Charles Nelson Riley, we've used this phrase a lot on the show too. A style parody is a pastiche, is like the technical term for that sort of thing. I found a beer called Pastiche that I had when we were talking about the White Stripes pastiche. And so I said, well, I could have done this for any of the style parodies, but I did it for that one.
And what type of beer is pastiche?
Pastiche is it was a double IPA.
Okay. Do you have a go-to favorite craft beer?
Yes and no. I have styles that I gravitate towards more than others. I have recently admitted to myself that my favorite is probably a dank IPA. Which is not everybody's cup of tea, but like every time I have one, I go, oh, this is it. But I like a good West Coast and stuff. And a running joke on the show is that Lauren loves her double dry hopped IPAs. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I most certainly do. But if I had to say, if I have a favorite beer, it is the Mad Elf from Trogs Brewing in Hershey, Pennsylvania. They brew it once a year at Christmas time, and it's a wild ale brewed with honey and cherries, and it's delicious. It is not Christmas unless I have my Mad Elf.
Sounds amazing. I don't think that I have a favorite beer because I'm like one of those guys who's got the Untapped app, and so I just want to keep trying new beers. Like I don't really go back to beers. Like I will keep in mind beers that I like, so that if I'm someplace out and they tell me what the selection is, I know which one I'm going to go with. But yeah, and a lot of that too is it just has to do with the season. What, is it hot out? Do I need to have a lighter beer, a more refreshing beer? Is it cooler out? Do I need to have a heavier beer? Am I, and I have a buddy of mine, actually the guy who designed the logo for my podcast. He will go to a concert and he has to have IPAs when he goes to concerts. I don't know what it is, but
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong. I had several IPAs, not at the last Weird Al concert that I went to, but the one before that, the pre-pandemic one, the Strings Attached tour. It was at a nice outdoor amphitheater, and those places, they're gonna have local stuff too. So I mean, I'm waiting for the show to start, and I'm just like, oh, this is great. They give you the plastic cup, and you just keep getting it refilled.
Yeah, that is good. All right, we got to talk about Weird Al. You are, I'm sure there are people maybe even out there that are more rabid Weird Al fans than you are, because there's no end to the spectrum when it comes to what people are into, what, how deep people get into something. But Weird Al Yankovic he's an artist that it's not your typical artist. There's Stevie Nicks stands, and there's, people that are into the Foo Fighters, and, every band basically. What is it about Weird Al? What was your introduction to Weird Al?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm gonna I'm gonna slow down just a second, because in addition to Weird Al, I am a very big Stevie Nicks stan.
Mm-hmm.
To the point my dog is named Belladonna. So yeah, I'm a complex woman. But what is it about Weird Al? Well, I think a lot about the waters run way deeper with Weird Al than people tend to think that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you've got the humor, which is what opens the door, but then you realize how smart he is with um a lot of his lyrical choices, and then a lot of his musical choices too. I mean, we'll get to it on this album, but the track "Dare to Be Stupid." I mean, Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo said, "You Devoed better than Devo. How did you make that sound?" And he's just like, "I don't know, I'm Weird Al." And so you get all of that, but then kind of digging into who Weird Al is, his kindness, I think, is the thing that stands out the most. And so you can enjoy the music, but there aren't a lot of artists out there where you can say, yeah, the music is great, but he is also somebody that you should really model your life after in a lot of ways, because he asked for permission to do all the parodies. He's just like a genuinely kind guy. And again, the title, Dare to Be Stupid, it's like, don't take yourself super seriously. You can take things seriously and do them well,
Mm-hmm.
but a little bit of levity, I think, is super important. And too many people just overlook that. The joy in life, it's there if you are open to it, and Weird Al leaves you open to it.
Sure. What was your first Weird Al experience? Do you remember what your first song was, for example, that you heard from him?
Oh yeah, we got the Bad Hair Day album in '96, and so that entire summer, my brother and I listened to it ad nauseum. And then our dad he ran into the house and he was like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait!" And he got Weird Al's self-titled debut album from the Columbia Record Club for just 1 penny, and he's like, "No, there's more!" And so we had one of those boom boxes with the CD on one side and the tape deck on the other, and we
Mm-hmm.
just switched back and forth outside, and the neighbors had to have hated us. But that summer we just consumed almost nothing but Weird Al music. And then we worked backwards, kind of filled in the back catalog, and then just kept getting the new stuff as it came out.
I assume you own every Weird Al album in some format.
Yes, actually, in this very room is the Weird Al vinyl box set squeeze box.
Okay, nice.
So
And
yeah, I'm looking at it, I can see it.
do you have them in multiple formats?
Some of them I have, well, this almost all of them on CD. I think up to Poodle Hat exists on CD, probably at my parents' house, because we kind of all got them together.
Mhm.
But I have first couple of albums on vinyl. I have the Greatest Hits Volume 2 on cassette, and then this whole box set.
Yeah. Obviously the holy grail for you would be to have Weird Al on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Have you made any inroads at all in getting that to happen, or have you even tried?
I haven't tried to have him on. He's been very busy lately. He's got this big tour going on, the movie and all that. But, I did go to see the unfortunate return of ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised vanity tour mid-May, and did the VIP meet and greet, and Weird Al recognized who my brother and I were. And he was like, "Oh, it's you guys." And then I got my autographed poster, and Al wrote, "Lauren, I love the podcast. XO, Weird Al Yankovic." I'm like, so I have it in writing that he knows we exist. He likes what we're doing. And when he saw us, he's like, "Oh," there was a protective screen between Al and the people.
Mhm.
And he put his arms out wide and his chest right up to this protective screen and kind of looked at me with that "I would hug you if I could" kind of face. And I was like, "I would take a hug if you could, man."
If we weren't in a global pandemic, things
Yeah.
might be different. How many times have you seen Weird Al?
11.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you right as you were taking a drink. That was a party foul on my part.
No, it's all good. 11. Yeah, but by the end of this year, it will be 12 because he's coming to Florida on near the end of this tour. And I've got the VIP here with some friends of mine. So get to do it all over again.
What do your parents think of your Weird Al? I wouldn't call it an obsession, but it's certainly an enthusiasm. Your dad obviously is down with it since he had some Weird Al in his collection.
They are very much in on it because going to the concert, in May, I flew up from Florida to Pennsylvania to go with my brother and our parents. And we all had matching Hawaiian shirts. You could not, there was no denying each other. And they did the VIP as well. They got their picture taken with Weird Al. And yeah, so I mean, they're all in on it. Mom and dad have both been on the show at one point to talk about some Weird Al too. So it's very much a Carey family affair, our obsession with Weird Al Yankovic. I think I'm definitely the most obsessed, but we're all very much big Weird Al fans.
As we record this, I know you've been photographing yourself daily with a Weird Al shirt on or some type of Weird Al garb or memento or something. What day number are we up to now?
As of this recording, I believe it's 517.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a complete accident. People always like, well, what started this? And I got to the third day of 2021 and realized I'd worn a Weird Al shirt every day. And so I just had a little moment with myself and I said, how far can I go with this? How many do I have? And so I made it 2 weeks without having to repeat a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I started posting it on Twitter and people responded to it. People have sent me Weird Al shirts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I got some on eBay, which is a very meta Weird Al thing to do because I bought it on eBay. And so I'm up to 50-ish because I got a new one at the concert, and things like that. So I've got a pretty good wardrobe going for me. They're not all officially sanctioned Weird Al merchandise. Some of them are from independent artists that are kind of riffing off of stuff in his songs. So I have a t-shirt for every location mentioned in The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota.
Good.
So I mean that counts.
Yeah.
So it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad. It's important for people to know that you don't have 517 different Weird Al shirts.
No, my God, but I would love to.
I think you would probably love to have the space for 517 Weird Al shirts.
Yeah.
That would be a nice closet to have. It's a great niche that you've carved out for yourself with this podcast. Are you finding that there are other Weird Al podcasts out there that are kind of I don't even know how to say it. Is that they're sort of rooting for you, but they're also they're getting all the attention.
Well, we found our lane. We've got the beer going for us, and there are a couple of different Weird Al podcasts podcasts out there. And we're all super supportive of one another. At the show that I was at, actually, Dave and Ethan from Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast were there. We saw each other in the lobby, big time hugs. We got pictures together. We traded stickers, and it was like, they're like, "Oh, I love what you're doing." And they're like, "Well, I love what you're doing." And it was wonderful because, we're approaching our fandom for Weird Al in a very different way. They're being, I hesitate to use the word serious because they're not being serious about it, but they're being a lot more journalistic than we are. We're basically just, two siblings reminiscing, having a good time and talking about stuff we like. And it just so happens to be Weird Al. They do a lot more research than we do. We're like, I remember that, I think.
Yeah. They're dissecting things, whereas you guys are just having fun with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Did you have any clue that your show would be this well received? Because you guys have you've joined a podcast network, and your show is doing very well.
Honestly, I am still surprised that the show is doing very well. When we started this, I said, I don't care if like 2 people listen to it and they're our parents, because it gives my brother and I an excuse to sit down, have a beer, and talk to each other from the 800 plus miles apart that we live on a relatively regular basis. Because he's busy. He's got a 3.5-year-old, and I've got like 2 jobs and all this, that, and the other. So I don't think we would consciously make the time if we didn't have this kind of outlet where we almost need to make the time. So I've always said that even if it was just that, even if only 2 people did it, it's worth it.
Yeah. So you've got this great tradition that on Friday nights you go out locally, you do some karaoke, you incorporate a little Weird Al into that at times.
I most certainly do. I've got the polka from Off the Deep End. Polka Your Eyes Out is probably one of the most things that you can ever do at karaoke, because it's all like late 80s, early 90s music, and people, you see their eyes and ears kind of perk up. They go, "Oh, I know this song. Oh, you're unbelievable. Oh," and then it just switches into, different songs that people haven't heard in a long time. Like, when was the last time you heard the Humpty Dance? But I sing a line from the Humpty Dance every time I do Polka Your Eyes Out.
Yeah. It seems like it's a lot of fun, and that's kind of the watchword for the Beard Al podcast. Before we dive into my favorite Weird Al Yankovic album, we'll do this again at the end, but tell people where they can find the Beard Al podcast and find you on social media.
Absolutely. The easiest way is to go to beardalpodcast.com. That's Beard Al Podcast, not like facial hair beard. It's Beard beardalpodcast.com. If that's too difficult, you can go to oddpodsmedia.com, and that's our podcast network. There's a link to our show there, along with all the other great shows on the network. And we are at Beard Al Podcast on Twitter, at Beard Al Podcast on Instagram, and it's facebook.com/Beard Al Podcast.
Yeah. And the title is BEER''D.
Yep.
Beard Al Podcast. And you
Beard
got
Al Podcast.
Great merch also. So that's fun.
Thanks.
Before I reveal to my listeners and viewers what my favorite album is from Weird Al, do you have a favorite, or are they like your children and you can't decide?
It's very mood based. But I'm going to say for nostalgia's sake, I'm going to go with Bad Hair Day, because that was the first one. Yeah. So that's probably it. But I mean, don't get me started on how underrated Poodle Hat is, or how underrated Polka Party is, because those 2 are also gems. So I'm just going to go with Polka Party from the 80s, Bad Hair Day from the 90s, and Poodle Hat from everything that happened after that.
Okay, that's fair. And you're right. There's sort of a link, like a almost an impression that you make, like with that first one. The first one always has a special place in your heart, no matter who the artist is. I think you always tend to gravitate toward that one that you got first or listened to first, and it made that first impression. So totally understandable. And to that end, my first Weird Al Yankovic album that I ever owned was my favorite, Dare to Be Stupid.
That's right.
And also has my favorite Weird Al song on it, but I was introduced to Weird Al through Sunday nights listening to the Dr. Demento show. And so right from the beginning, you know, I heard the My Bologna and some of those early Weird Al songs. And so, but he was always just this guy that you heard on Sunday nights on Dr. Demento, and there was really nothing else to it until MTV, and he became, you know, just huge. And of course, his videos were a big part of that. But I think there was way more than that to him, and we'll get into that. So put that chainsaw down and listen to me. We're going to talk about Weird Al Yankovic's "Dare to Be Stupid." Came out June 18th, 1985 on Scotty Brothers Records. It was his third studio album, third in 3 years, in fact. And I'm going to go through the band members. The Weird Al Yankovic, obviously, accordion, keyboards, theremin, vocals, background vocals. Rick Derringer played guitar on this and produced. Steve J played banjo, bass guitar, background vocals. Jim West played guitar and sang backup vocals. Great name, John Bermuda Schwartz, percussion and drums. You got to love that. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite nickname in all of music is John Bermuda Schwartz. Warren Looning on trumpet, Joel Peskin on clarinet. That's how deep this is, folks. Clarinet. And more than one. Gary Herbig played clarinet and saxophone. Pat Regan played synthesizer. Bill Scott did some yodeling. Some banjo from Al Viola. The glove. Don't know anything about the glove. The glove scratching is the instrument listed. The Waters Sisters with background vocals, and Belen Alvarez just says the Queen.
There's nothing wrong with any of that.
Yeah. So, Dare to Be Stupid. This is an amazing album, and it starts off with the parody of the queen of the MTV era, Madonna, with Like a Surgeon. Like a Surgeon is a song that he just cracks me up every single time, the way he says, "Hey!"
Very good.
Just kills me. I love it. Your thoughts on Like a Surgeon?
I think Like a Surgeon holds a very interesting spot in Weird Al lore, in that it's the only parody he ever did that the idea came from somebody else. And it came from Madonna herself. Mm-hmm. And so you can't be mad at that. And yeah, this song is hilarious. It's, sidebar, a lot of fun to do at karaoke. And, you know, I think it's really clever, you know, the way it's like, you know, I was last in my class, barely passed at the Institute. But you always have to think like, well, what do you call the guy who graduated last in his class at medical school? Doctor. And so like, that's what this whole thing is. But then he ties it up at the end with the, you know, the disgrace of the AMA because my patients died before they could pay, you know, yes. And that's his little commentary. His commentary is so sneaky that like, if you don't catch it, you miss it. So
love it. I mean, not that his patients die, but because they die before they can pay. So that's awesome. And I think it says a lot about the healthcare system in our country. And I like it better than Madonna's original. I've never been like a huge Madonna fan. I like some of her songs, but this wasn't Like a Virgin wasn't one of the ones that I liked from her all that much, but I love this one, and it was so good that it charted on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 47 with a parody song. I mean, it's got to be really good to get on the Hot 100, and he managed to do that.
Yeah, it's so good. And you know, it's like, it's a little jarring to your ears because I think it's like half a step lower than Like a Virgin is. So it's one of those that like you can tell which one it's going to be right from the opening beat, whereas some of the parodies like you have to give it a second, but this one you know because it's lower.
Yeah. So good stuff. Like a Surgeon kicks it off, and then we go into the title track, Dare to Be Stupid, and this is for me just an unbelievable song. As a Devo fan, this has all the perfect pastiche of the Devo style. Fantastic. He he's very clever, and he nailed, like you said, Mark Mothersbaugh said you out Devo, and it's hard to argue with that because he hit. You wouldn't even have known that he wrote this rather than the actual guys in Devo.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's brilliant. All the little sound bits in the song, like I do the yes, like way more often than I should, like in real life. Most people don't catch it, but like, you're with a good person when you can go yes, and they go, oh, I know what you're talking about. Uh, but one thing I love about the song Dare to Be Stupid is how throughout Al's career, it's kind of taken on a life of its own, because he's done it in different styles on the last two Vanity tours. So he did it in the style of the Grateful Dead a couple years ago. And then the one I just saw, he did it in the style of like Lounge Lizards, which was hilarious. I looked at my brother in the middle of that and I said, John, this is a revelation. I love when a song can evolve, because the original that you have on this album is Beyond Reproach. It's one of my absolute favorite Weird Al tracks. But the fact that he can change it and give it, breathe new life into it as he wants to, I think it's amazing.
It's got this terrific laundry list of doing things you are typically told not to do. Look a gift horse in the mouth, things like that. And the line mashed potatoes can be your friend is a great inside joke for Devo fans because of all the Devo potato references and Spud references. And he just gets it. He doesn't just write out some lyrics that kind of rhyme and go with the song. It just really is well thought out, researched, and I don't really know what Weird Al's record collection looks like, but I imagine it's pretty expansive.
I'm sure it's expansive and extremely diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Because just based off of what, his oeuvre, he must listen to a lot of stuff in order to really understand it all as deeply as he does. So yeah, I'm sure it's ridiculous.
Younger listeners and viewers, you should ask your parents what the references are that about selling wine before it's time and squeezing the Charmin. Those are a little dated now, but people my age, I still adore them. They're just great. I want a new duck, Lauren.
I do.
A Huey Lewis parody, and just so much information in this song. I did not know that a duck would steal your beer.
Yeah. As one of the hosts of the Beard Al podcast, I tend to try to stay away from ducks due to the rampant beer theft among the duck community.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Craft beer, for all its qualities, being inexpensive is not one of them.
No, and it attracts ducks. It attracts ducks. They just want this expensive beer. No, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know. This song is hilarious. I mean, the duck puns alone.
Oh, the duck puns are great. And you and I had a great conversation about the line about showing him how to get down. And down being, of course, what's on a duck? Down
feather. Yeah.
And so a great double entendre, which you recently came to understand.
Yeah, I knew it. I think my brain just overlooked it because I know the song so well. And then there was one day embarrassingly recently where I was like, oh my God, I get it. And I said it out loud to no one. And, now it's one of those things that I told my brother what happened, like right after it happened. I said, John, I got the line. He's like, what took you so long to get the line? And I said, I don't know, man. And he goes, well, I'm going to call you out on it on the show. So, rather than have him do it, I just kind of owned that moment. And, it's not me daring to be stupid. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's more speaks to the fact that there's so much going on and so much of his music that you're not going to catch all of it on the first or the 27th or the 3000th pass sometimes.
And I think because of the fact that it rhymes, and a lot of people wouldn't even think twice about it because they would just think, well, that's a nice little line that rhymes. He actually does punctuate that line by saying, get it at the end of it, because he knows that it's going to fly, just over some people's heads.
Yep, just like those darn ducks.
Exactly. While they're out scouring the countryside for craft beer. Uh, I just love how he highlights the double entendre by get it. Like
Get it? And
it's
we can't discount the quack, 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 quack. Oh,
yeah,
it's so
the
good.
saxophone, instead of a saxophone solo, sax solo, he's got a quack solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Definitely a top three song on the album for me. And that brings us to my very favorite Weird Al song of all time. A song that proves that Weird Al's got a voice. For all the other things that he's good at, he actually does have a good singing voice when he is trying to do something. I wouldn't say seriously because it's not a very serious song, but he sounds great on the song called "One More Minute," which is sort of like a doo-wop Elvis thing, and just maybe my favorite lyrics from the entire catalog that Weird Al has ever done.
Oh, it's great. This song is definitely up there for me. For the longest time, this was my favorite part of any Weird Al concert because this he'd put on the smoking jacket and he'd have the scarves and he'd go out into the audience and like really ham it up for the women and stuff. And I loved that part. And so that really gives this song a special place in my heart. But yeah, I mean, the man can sing. The man can absolutely sing. And this may have been the first time people actually noticed how well he can sing, but I think he's proved it quite a lot,
Yeah, and a great video for the song as well. Love the way he talks about burning down the malt shop where we used to go, and then saying, "I guess I might seem kind of bitter." A great
It's
lyrical
so great.
line. It's just so couched in that, I guess I might seem kind of bitter. It's
A little bit.
in the way that he sings it, you don't notice all of that. It's just like three different times he's couching this bitterness.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, it's great. And you know, uh not to go down a path, but this is one of the few times that Weird Al very nearly crosses a line into something that is almost inappropriate about being stranded all alone in the gas station of love and he has to use the self-service pumps.
Mhm.
Like the first time you get that, you're like, oh, Weird Al.
Yeah, Weird Al made a sex joke. Everybody, let's take five. Everybody needs to calm down a little bit.
It's like, what is happening? I gotta fan my face.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I would love to have a conversation with him about that line and how it came about because I wonder if he came up with gas station of love and then needed something, or if he came up with self-service pump and then backtracked to the gas station of love. I would really be interested in how that unfolded.
Oh gosh, he probably that's a good question. Yeah. I mean, hey Weird Al, if you're listening.
Yeah, give us a call. You can email me, michaelsrecordcollection@gmail.com, and let's get to the bottom of this. Fantastic song though, just a great song and an original, which proves that the man can not only just take someone else's melody and put some words to it, but he can come up with something, fairly original on his own. And even though it's a stylistic parody, it's still, he still had to write music and lyrics and all that to it.
Absolutely. Brilliant man. Brilliant man.
Yeah, very smart. All right, Star Wars fans, track 4 is Yoda. And long before the this here Anakin guy from the saga begins, we had Yoda done to the style of the Kinks' Lola, and again, just you could tell he's a Star Wars nerd. That he just had all these facts that he could pull from, and all of these little things, and talking about picking up rocks and things like that, and and again in his Weird Al style, just not only making fun of Star Wars in a loving way, but also just killing it on the Kinks cover, really.
Yeah, he does a brilliant job with this. And I feel like, and then you think about the time frame, right? Because what gosh, oh God, what's the third one? The that's The Empire Strikes Back. And what's the third Star Wars? Oh my God, I'm having a
Return of the
complete like
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, nerds. I had a brain fart. Um, but that was like 1983, and then Dare to Be Stupid's coming out in 1985. So like Yoda was not like timely or current or anything along those lines because he wrote it like in the late 70s, right?
Mhm.
And he just finally put it on this album here, and it took on a life of its own, for him and in his career. He closes every concert with Yoda.
And it was a bold choice here too, because at that point in 1985, who knew if we were ever seeing another Star Wars movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, he totally called it, right?
Yeah,
Because I'll be playing this part till I'm old and gray. The long-term contract I had to sign said I'll be making these movies till the end of time.
yeah, and that's true. Now we're we're approaching saturation with the Star Wars product at this point, but
A little bit.
yeah. So at that point, we didn't know if we're getting another thing. We were kind of wondering, is this what we're getting, or we're going out with Ewoks? That's what we're doing. This is how it ends. But no, we got more, and I have to think that in no small part due to Weird Al Yankovic's hard work.
I believe that. I firmly believe that. Yeah, he just kept the fire burning.
Fantastic guitar work here by Jim West on this song. Love it. Um, Again, musicianship, I think, underrated on his albums. Not just the singing, not just the writing and the clever lyrics, but people can actually play.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they're amazing live. You could tell these guys have been playing together for a long time, and they're all very, very good at what they do. And Jim and Steve and like Bermuda, and not on this album, but like Ruben, his keyboard player that performs live with him, they all do their own stuff, but they keep coming back to Weird Al. Like Jim West has independently won Grammys for his slack key guitar playing, completely outside, separate from his work with Weird Al. So like they are like consummate musicians.
Yeah, outstanding. After Yoda, we have a cover of the cartoon theme song for George of the Jungle. You and I have talked about this before, about how it's really neither of our favorite Weird Al Yankovic songs. Not necessarily a skipper, but there's places we would have maybe rather gone than the George of the Jungle theme song.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it because like, Weird Al's just singing it. Like he didn't write it or anything like that.
Mhm.
But, he liked George of the Jungle. He wanted to put it on the album. Fine. He's allowed, he's Weird Al. He can do it. And I will say though that the last time I went playing disc golf, there was like one of the holes on the course was like completely like surrounded by like large trees, and so every time I'd throw my disc I would go, watch out for that tree.
It's perfect. Perfect.
I
Yeah.
amused myself anyway.
Yeah. Uh, and really, honestly, nowadays, anytime you can do that, you should.
Yeah,
We all need a little more levity in our lives. We all need to lighten up just a little bit more. So,
absolutely, that's what
yeah,
Weird Al's here for.
that's right. Yeah. So George of the Jungle, and then that goes into another pastiche instead of Devo this time. Thomas Dolby with the Slime Creatures from Outer Space song, which is, I mean, there's no other way to say it other than it's amazing. It's just an amazing stylistic parody of Hyperactive. It's got 50s sci-fi sound effects. Steve J and playing the theremin on this and making those cool wavy sounds and stuff. And it's really breathtaking, and it's deep. You got to go back and listen to it 3 or 4 times before you catch everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is one of those ones that definitely took some time to grow on me, because I didn't understand everything that was going on. But now that I do, it's like, oh my God, like this is genius. There's a lot of work going into this, and then slime creature, from outer space. It's so great.
Yeah, I would. I mean, and I think a part of why I love this album so much and why it's my favorite too is that connection with what I was listening to around that time. Devo and Thomas Dolby, they were I wouldn't say ubiquitous, but they were pretty popular at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you can tell what Weird Al was into at the time too, by what like
Mhm.
he chose to do versus what he felt like he had to do.
Yeah.
He did like a surgeon, he did I Want a New Duck and stuff because like those are the big hits, but like what did he put on there that he wanted to put on there? It's this weird stuff,
Yeah.
and you gotta love it.
And I think there's something to that too, because those songs were cover, he just parodied those songs. And then these songs, the Dare to Be Stupid and Slime Creatures, he just took their style and said, I'm going to create something original using their style. And I think that to me is a bigger tribute than just taking the song as written and just changing lyrics and stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's an homage. It's like
Yeah.
I love this so much. I want to try and do something like it myself.
Yeah. So we've gone with au revoir and homage so far on the podcast, and
Yes,
who knows what will come next.
I don't know.
But what comes next on the album is a song that Weird Al didn't necessarily want to do, and that is the record label said, "Hey, how about doing a cover of Cyndi Lauper's very popular "Girls Just Want to Have Fun"? Wouldn't that be cool, Weird Al? Wouldn't that be great?" Weird Al's like, I think we're good with material. No, no, wouldn't that be great, Weird Al, if you did that? Like we're telling you to do that? And so you get Girls Just Want to Have Lunch is what comes of that, and I think it came out pretty good, but he makes no effort to sound even remotely like Cyndi Lauper and sings it in this weird style, probably partly because he can't sing like Cyndi Lauper, because who can? And partly because maybe this is his way of protesting being told what to put on the album.
I mean, maybe. It's just really low hanging fruit is what my problem with it is. And like you can tell that like this is like his heart wasn't fully in this one. And honestly, just on principle, as a girl, like we want more than lunch.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much looking forward to having dinner when we're finished talking here today, and that's not
Yeah.
lunch. I want my dinner.
Right. You always want to munch. Always have to have something to munch, not just at lunch.
Right.
But yeah, I like it. I don't love it. There's a lot of burping and farting noises throughout the song, which I think is a subtle jab to say I really didn't want to do this. Maybe it's not. Maybe he thought it was funny. I don't know, but that would be another question, Weird Al. If you're gonna take the time to answer my earlier question, maybe you can answer this one as well.
Yeah. Why not? Very simple questions.
Yeah. So, Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. This Is the Life comes next, and this was the song done for the Johnny Dangerously film, starring Joe Piscopo and Michael Keaton. Are you an aficionado of Johnny Dangerously?
I'm not an aficionado of Johnny Dangerously. It's on my list of things that I would like to see.
Mhm.
Because of the song, and I got no problem with Michael Keaton. I like Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
so I'd be down to watch it. I don't know how good it'll be, but I'll watch it.
I haven't seen it in many years, and I'm anxious to see how it holds up. But my memory of it is it's like Weird Al. It's very much a parody of gangster movies, and I think that I mean I don't remember it well enough to know if it will stand up to the modern politically correct climate. But that's always the danger with 80s movies, I think, especially comedies. But I remember it being hilarious. I remember it very fondly, and I would think that kind of humor would be right up your alley. It's very Weird Al humor.
All right, well, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, having watched UHF, yeah, I think there's some similarities in the type of humor that you get between the two movies.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely down for it. Then I will be watching some Johnny Dangerously sooner rather than later. I am sure.
Yeah, so I'd be anxious or interested to hear your take on the movie once you get a chance to see it.
Awesome.
So, excellent drumming by Bermuda Schwartz on this song. It's a cute song, perfect for something like a movie score. And I could probably live without the mock tap dance in the middle of it, but it's for what it was, I guess that fits it.
It makes sense. I absolutely, in that same part, I mean, you got the mock tap dancing. I mean, then it leads into a ripping guitar solo, but then you get the what up,
Yeah.
which gets me every time.
Yeah, and that's very much of the era of the music that was done in the era that in which Johnny Dangerously takes place. So again, I can't wait till you see it, and I hopefully I'll get a chance to also catch it again because it's been quite some time. Um, and that takes us into cable TV, and cable TV is a song that it sort of parodies Elton John's Hercules song. It takes you back to when cable TV was new, and now it's very specialized. But at the time, channels, different networks had like just a variety of stuff. They were just give us content. We're on 24 hours a day. We need to put something on the air, and you would have just all kinds of crazy stuff on different channels. There wasn't just like this channel does. There were a few. They were just starting out where there might be a comedy channel and a movie channel, but mostly everybody just did everything. And I liked being taken back to that sort of new thing because we were really late in getting cable TV in our area because we were kind of out in the sticks. So it took a while to get the infrastructure in place for cable TV. All my friends had it. I would always, hey, can I go spend the night at so and so's house? Because then I could watch MTV and things like that. But I remember you had these boxes. They had like 9 numbers, and you had a little knob over here that you had 3 tiers. So you had like 27 channels on that first cable box that we had, and you could only you had to pick 1 through 9, and you had to pick tier 1, 2, or 3. So it was a lot different than it is now.
Oh, I can only imagine. And it's funny too. There's some of Weird Al's music is timeless in its own way, and then some of it is dated very much in other ways. And I say this as somebody who had, some kind of cable TV service until I bought this house a couple of months ago, and I was like, you know what? Nope. I don't need it. I already have all the streaming services anyway, so I got one of those digital antennas so I can watch my Wheel and my Jeopardy, and everything else is streaming. I got rid of cable TV because there's stuff that replaces it, but like you still have the same kind of issue that Weird Al was kind of getting into in this song is like, you got the Chinese Faith Healers Network, news and business from Peru. And it's like celebrity hockey, the racquetball channel too. And there's just like weird stuff. And like, that's what streaming is. It's like, oh, what is this unusual show? And you just kind of give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the racquetball channel line. It's great. Not surprised to find out you, a Weird Al fan, being also a Jeopardy watcher.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm a big time Jeopardy watcher.
I hope that you someday get a lousy version of their home game.
Oh yeah, well I did, come in first place with the highest score ever recorded on the Weird Al Jeopardy at the pre-show VIP experience.
Wow, you just tore them up.
I did. And Weird Al himself was actually impressed. So I don't need to win actual Jeopardy. I won Weird Al Jeopardy, which is my specialized niche. So it's all good.
That's pretty good. I wonder if you know more about Weird Al than Weird Al does.
I don't think so. That man's mind probably has more, doors than I could ever imagine having in mine.
He's a great follow on Twitter. I loved his sort of updates from the movie set where he would show you what he could. So sometime it would be like a picture of a parking space or a dumpster on the back lot or something.
So good.
Yeah, he's great. After cable TV, it's polka time.
Yep, it's polka time.
Hooked on polkas. Do you have a favorite section of Hooked on Polkas?
Oh my gosh. All of the polkas have something to them that I feel like is special. And before I get into like what my favorite section of Hooked on Polkas actually is, I have to say that I have a big problem with the fact that this album closes with the polka because I feel like that is not something that really should happen, right? But it's tough to say because I think, you know what? I'm going to go with it. My favorite section of this polka is the 99 Luftballons.
Yeah.
bit
And
because it's
no
such a
surprise.
it's just so funny. That's why
No,
there's like 18 clarinet players on the album.
yeah, that's true. No surprise that the German band is perfect for the polkas section, and it's really great because he's got the different types of polka, and he just picks the right song for the right style every single time. And love the transitions. The transitions are brilliant. The way he sort of stitches them together seamlessly, knows exactly when to throw in a hey or a no or some weird sound effect,
Mm-hmm.
and just amazing. I mean, of course, if he knows one style of music and he knows all of them seemingly, it's polkas.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about the seamless transitions, it's especially true as you get into some polkas later on in his career where I'm not like super familiar with some of the stuff because it's either a genre that I'm not into. There's another word, it's genre. So I've
Right?
done oeuvre, what I've done oeuvre and genre and but
Homage.
anyway, homage, yes. It's great. But if it's something I'm not super familiar with, and then like if I catch it on the radio or something, my brain is going to mentally go to the next song in the polka
Yeah.
because that's all I know from this song. I'm gonna go right to the next song in the polka.
Yeah. Do you ever hear the actual song and you just assume that coming up next is the next song in the polka?
Yeah, well, I mean that's what my brain absolutely
Yeah.
does, and I was listening to Sledgehammer the other day,
Yeah.
and first of all, I love Sledgehammer, but my brain being my brain does that. I want to be the way Al does in the polka, and I
Uh-huh.
just that's it's terrible. It's terrible. The wires get crossed so many times in my brain. Like what's the Weird Al part and what's the actual part? Like what's happening?
Such an eclectic group of songs. Starts out with the 12th Street Rag, The State of Shock by the Jacksons and Mick Jagger, ZZ Top's Sharp Dressed Man, Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do with It, which is one of my favorite one of
What's
my
love
favorite
got
songs.
to do with it?
The Hall and Oates song "Method of Modern Love," uh, "Owner of Lonely Heart" by Yes, one of my favorite songs from the '80s. Twisted Sisters, "We're Not Going to Take It," which I just wish I could have sat in a room with D. Snyder when he first heard that.
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Oh, that when he does that, "Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore." It's so good.
It is. It really is. 99 Left Balloons by Nina, Footloose by Kenny Loggins, The Reflex by Duran Duran, Metal Health, Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot, Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and finish it off with the Ear Booker Polka.
Yep, Alan did all of his polkas with the Earbooker polka up until 1996.
That's the kind of knowledge I think that maybe you don't even get on that other Weird Al podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. You might. And then after that, he ended the polkas with different little original polka ditties of his own,
Mhm.
primarily. But yeah, so you get the ends that are always like da 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 da. Hey, like
Yeah,
that's the Yearbooker polka.
that's great. That's great stuff. And like I said, just you've got Blue Eyed Soul in here. You've got pop. You've got blues rock. You've got progressive rock. You've got hair metal and new romantic. Just all kinds of styles. And he just, like I said, finds the right type of polka for each one of these to deliver this as the vehicle to deliver these lyrics, which are the actual lyrics, which is kind of it's cool because he's got songs he didn't write the music for that he wrote the lyrics for, and here he gets to put the music together and then use lyrics that someone else wrote.
Yeah, it's brilliant. He's the best.
But yeah, I could see where having the polkas at the end might be like maybe he thought he was just leaving the audience wanting more. It's like let me put this breathless thing at the end of it.
Maybe. I feel like the polkas make more sense in the middle, and then the end should be like that big like weird song that he usually does. But, then if you think about this and its placement in Weird Al's catalog, the fact that Dare to Be Stupid ends with a polka and the next album was Polka Party, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll take it as a bridge. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's good though. Weird Al Yankovic, Dare to Be Stupid, 1985, just a fantastic album. What can you say about it?
it's the best. Well, I mean, I love it. I love it. I mean, they're all the best.
They're all the best. They're all your favorite.
Yep. I'm very
It's like-
non-committal here.
It's like your children, you can't pick a favorite one. Sometimes, some days one makes you mad, so you like the other one a little more, but you love them all equally, more or less.
But yeah, more or less. Yeah, I have love for all of them, depending on my mood.
Yeah, I have only gotten to see Weird Al once on the Running with Scissors tour, which was fantastic. Would definitely recommend going to see him. He puts on an amazing show. You're never bored. He does costume changes, but you got video screen stuff going on while he does that. Like I said, the band is fantastic. There's props. There's all kinds of great stuff going on, and it's just a great time. And it's a show you can take your whole family to.
Yeah, definitely. Now, don't oversell the props in the videos, because the tour that he's currently on, The Unfortunate Return of the Ridiculously Self-Indulgent Ill-Advised Vanity Tour, is very stripped down. It's 5 old guys on stools.
Yeah. But it's still, it's still Weird Al. It's still going to be a great
Still a
show.
Weird Al show, and you're still not bored. So
Sure. It's going to be fun. Like I said, it's fun for everybody. You can take your kids and not have to worry about, some of the stuff you have to worry about at other rock shows and concerts.
that's for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm glad we got the chance to talk about this record. It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite Weird Al album, and I'm glad we got to talk about the Beard Al podcast, which is a fantastic show. I think you and your brother do a great job with it, and not only with the show itself, but you're always coming up with a beer that I'm like, oh, I don't think I've tried that one yet. So that's also a nice thing to have as well.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad we do that for some people. We had a comment come through on our Facebook page not too long ago where somebody said, you talk way too much about the beer. Just get to I'm like, the beer is in the title of the show though.
Yeah.
Like that's it kind of comes before Al.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was going to say. The beer comes before the Al.
So, I mean, like, whatever, bro.
maybe this isn't your Weird Al show. Maybe
yeah, that was my response. I was just like, well, thank you for the feedback. Maybe this isn't the show for you. Have a nice day.
Or, one thing you could do is just skip ahead.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
There's
But
nothing wrong with that.
It's fine. I'm helping some people find beers they've never had before and listen to Weird Al music that they forgot about. So I'm focusing on the positive.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing about your show is that it is a very positive show that aims to have fun. You don't. I don't think I've ever heard one of your shows where you're talking about the problems of the world today.
No,
it's not your thing.
Not our thing. There enough people are talking about the problems of the world. We want to be people's like respite from the problems of the world, and much like Weird Al is. So I'm thank you for noticing that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, escapism. That's what it's all about.
Right on.
That's what it's all about. That's what I try to do that here too, because music is my escape, and I'm hopefully I can help other people escape into the music that I like, and maybe they'll find something that they can also enjoy.
Yeah, love it.
All right, hit me with that information again. Let's start off with where can people find you on the socials?
Yes, we are at Beard Al Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/Beard Al Podcast.
Nice. And you can find the Beard Al Podcast on all of the major podcast places, the platforms, whether you go to Apple or Google Play or wherever. It's just find your favorite podcast dispensary, and it's there.
Yes, it is there. not to like pimp a podcast player, but give good pods a shot because it's a lot of people just like rating and sharing their shows. It's a really good little like burgeoning little podcast
Mhm.
app where you get like honest opinions from people and you can find shows that you may not have found otherwise that aren't getting picked up by the bigger ones. So, find us on Good Pods.
Yeah, go on Good Pods and download the app and get all your friends on it, and then you can discover stuff that your friends are listening to, and it might be something that you would be interested in doing. And like you said, it's got ratings, and it's the social aspect of it is really nice because you can if you have even one person on there that you trust their opinion, you're going to find more shows that you like.
Yes, absolutely. And I love it. And I feel like Good Pods is only going to get better
Mhm.
as time goes on. So I was happy to be in the door on it early and I found it really helpful for finding a lot of stuff.
Yeah, same. And it's like the only place anyone's ever rated my podcast. So that's good. I'm happy about that. Uh, Lauren Carey, anything else about Weird Al that we need to cover today?
I think we've covered all of the big spots. We talked about how smart he is, how funny he is, how kind he is, how great his music is, and how he's 5'11", which is
Yeah,
true. He's
sure.
5'11".
We didn't cover that, but now we have.
Now we have. Now
Now
we
we have.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and again, you can get some really cool Weird Al podcast merch with your great logo. It's got the Weird Al hairdo on a mug of beer, which is phenomenal.
Thanks. I went to my friend. I went to my friend Katie, because she does like physical art, but she also does some graphic design. And I was like, oh, she can make my logo. And I told her what the show was about, and she goes, okay, well, did you have anything in mind? I was like, beer, but make it Weird Al, please. And that's all I told her.
Yeah,
And she came. This was the first draft, and I was like, holy cow, this is it.
nailed it.
Thank
Nailed
you
it.
very much.
Yeah, it's really I wouldn't even know where to start. A Hawaiian shirt over a beer mug. I don't know, but yeah, it turned out great.
I don't know where she came up with it, but I love it because it's so weird.
Perfect. Weird
It
is
is.
perfect for that. Have you run out of the pint glasses?
Yeah, for now, I have to order some more because they're not the kind of thing that I can put in the merch store. So I have to order them and then like send them to people. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I have thought about doing pint glasses, but I'm frightened.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, I mostly did giveaways, for them because people seem to like to have them. So I will do that again at some point in the future once I get a little more of my ducks in a row here. But yeah, the pint glasses are fun.
All right, let's see if we can get a new duck to be one of those ducks in a row.
Oh, very good.
Got it right back in. Got to bring it right back around. All right. Well, Lauren Carey, thank you so much for your time. It's been great talking to you about your show, about Weird Al, obviously, our mutual admiration for this particular musician from California. And I think your show's great. I hope it does very well. And I'm sure it's already doing I don't even want to know your numbers because I'll be so jealous. But I hope that my listeners will, if they're into Weird Al or beer or both, that they'll check out your show.
Yeah, well, thank you so very much. And I was really happy to have you on the show to talk about the same album in a completely different way. And I hope, some reciprocal listener sharing occurs.
That would be great. Cross promotion is awesome, but for me, it's more about making connections with great people and having a good time. And I have really enjoyed talking Weird Al with you today.
Thank you. I loved it too. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.